بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بار محمد وآل محمد صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Let us begin tonight's program with the recitation of the Holy Quran. I would like to request Brother Zunair Wasim to please come forward and recite the verses for us. And let us please welcome him with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajah.
Inshallah, I'll be reciting some of the last ayat from Surah Al-Hashr today, from ayah 18 till the end, inshallah, for anyone who wants to follow along. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. ولا تكونوا كالذين نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم أولئك هم الفاسقون. لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة أصحاب الجنة هم الفائزون. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر. سبحان الله عما يشركون. هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
سکینہ سو رہی ہے، سنائی کس نے یہ زندہ میں لوری، سکینہ سو رہی ہے، خدا را زور سے بولے نہ کوئی، سکینہ سو رہی ہے، کہا بانوں نے اٹھو شاہزادی، ہوئی کیا بات جو مادر سے روٹھی، اٹھو بابا کا سر آیا ہے بی بی، اٹھو بابا کا سر آیا ہے بی بی، مگر زنداں کی ہر دیوار بولی، سکینہ سو رہی ہے، سنائی کس نے یہ نب مارے گا کوئی بھی تماچے، نہ پھر ہوں گے کبھی رخسار نیلے، گلا باندھا نہ جائے گا رسم میں، گلا باندھا نہ جائے گا رسم میں، مگر سجاد کی آواز آئی، سکینہ سو رہی ہے، سنائی کس نے یہ رسن کا زخم اشکوں سے دھلا دوں، تیرے بالوں سے یہ مٹی چھڑا دوں، تیرے تلووں کی چھالوں کی دوا دوں، تیرے تلووں کے چھالوں کی دوا دوں، اجل بولی کہ یہ کیسے چلے گی، سکینہ سو رہی ہے، ہوئے جب شام کے سائے بھی گہرے، پرندے چہچہاتے جا رہے تھے، کہا بانوں نے اے اڑتے پرندوں، کہا بانوں نے اے اڑتے پرندوں، صدائیں روک لو کچھ دیر اپنی، سکینہ سو رہی ہے، اندھیرا رویا سناٹے سے مل کر، فلک گرنے لگا دھرتی کے اوپر، ہلانے پر بھی جب بچی نہ جاگی، अदब की जा है ये रेहान देखो, बुलंद आवाज से हरगिज न बोलो, यहाँ तो फातिहा भी धीरे से पढ़ना, यहाँ तो फातिहा भी धीरे से पढ़ना, यहाँ आवाज हो जाए न ऊंची, सकीना सो रही है, सुनाई किसने ये जिंदा में लोरी, सकीना सो रही है। बर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सलवात।
ذكر صلوات. I'm Zainab, I'm Zainab. All my life I lived in pain. I'm Zainab. I died when I lost Hussein. I'm Zainab. All my life I lived in pain. I'm Zainab. I died when I lost Hussein. I am the mother of sorrows. Wherever I go, oh, follows. I am the mother of sorrows. Wherever I go, oh, follows. I'm Zainab. All my life I lived in pain. I'm Zainab. I died when I lost Hussein. My grief started when I lost mankind's true mercy. After that loss, I lost Zahra and then Ali. The broken ribs, the head strike of Ali hunts me. The broken ribs, the head strike of Ali hunts me. My grief deepened watching Hassan dying slowly. How can I live without you, my dear? How can I watch your head shine on a spear? I am the mother of sorrows. Wherever I go, oh, follows. I am Zainab. All my life I lived in pain. I am Zainab. I died when I lost Hussein. My heart shattered on the day Hussein was killed. The day of 10 when the world with blood was filled. Upon my mind the sorrow and pain was instilled. Upon my mind the sorrow and pain was instilled. O Lord, let our sacrifice now be fulfilled. O Shia, when you're thirsty, say his name. O Shia, curse the one who lit the flame. I am the mother of sorrows. Wherever I go, woe follows. I'm Zainab. All my life I lived in pain. I'm Zainab. I died when I lost Hussein. My life ended when I was taken back to Shaam, where on a plate I saw the head of my Imam. My life ended when I was taken back to Shaam, where on a plate I saw the head of my Imam. I kept dropping my precious tears upon my palm, and now I lay under the ground where I am calm. My soul rests, but my tears are still dropping. My soul rests, and in Shaam I'm now laying. I am the mother of sorrows. Wherever I go, woe follows. I am the mother of sorrows. Wherever I go, woe follows. I'm Zainab. All my life I lived in pain. I'm Zainab. I died when I lost Hussein. Sallallahu Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Jazakallah, Brother Hassan. One more loud salawat for him, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Respected Sheikh, elders, brothers and sisters in faith, Assalamu alaikum. Just a kind reminder for the next week's programs. Inshallah, we will have Jummah Salat on Friday, and later that day at 7 p.m. we will have the first of the two-night program commemorating the martyrdom of Lady Sakina bint Hussein alayhi salam, and we are honored to be welcoming Sheikh Mehdi Shakulai to be speaking at these events. More details for this event are going to be communicated through our WhatsApp and email communication channels. We also have a Shab-e Aza program next Saturday night with renowned Urdu speakers and Nuha Khan. You are requested to please attend and look out for details for that program as well on our communication channels. Before I request the Sheikh to ascend the mimbar, I would like to request everyone to please recite a Surah Fatiha for the marhumin of tonight's program sponsors. Let us also include our own marhumin and the marhumin of the Ummah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Let us welcome the Shaykh to the mimbar with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For the honor of our Master, Holy Prophet, the seal of the messengers and his immaculate progeny, Ahlul Bayt, recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Second salawat for the honor of Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam and his companions. Allahumma salli ala zalala. And the third salawat for the honor of the Imam of our time and hastening his reappearance, recite the third salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى تبارك وتعالى ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إلهنا وشفيع ذنوبنا والطبيب قلوبنا العبد المؤيد والرسول المصدد المصطفى الأمجد أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين الهداة المهديين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم ومن يتق الله يجعل له مخرجا ويرزقه من حيث لا يحتسب ومن يتوكل على الله فهو حسبه إن الله بالغ أمره قد جعل الله لكل شيء قدرا صدق الله العلي العظيم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala illuminate our hearts by the light of Iman and guidance and cleanse our hearts from corruption, deviance and misguidance with the salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We're grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us this opportunity to gather in remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this majlis. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq and ability to practice, to implement and exercise what we learn, because without a doubt any knowledge, any learning, any understanding that will not be practiced, that will be ignored and neglected, will be a burden upon all of us. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for our shortcoming and grant us the tawfiq of obedience and servitude of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the remainder of our lives until we're breathing and we leave this dunya tawaffani muslima, to leave this life inshallah in the state of submission and taslim to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inshallah. Last night we discussed the importance of our relationship with our family as well as our community. The need that we have to heal and to build this bond that we have with others, because as a social creature and the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us, we are in need of others, meaning that we cannot live in isolation, and if we choose to, our lives will not be a balanced life. We have a narration that one of the companions of the Ahlul Bayt was making a dua. That in his dua, in his prayer was saying, Ya Allah, do not make me dependent on people. And his intention and his heart probably was in the right place. That what he meant was that, Ya Allah, do not make me to place my hope and ultimate hope in people and to trust you and rely my hope in you. But when Imam alayhi salam heard this, Imam told him that your prayer is a prayer of destruction for your own self, for your own sake. You're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to put an end to your life. Because in order to survive, in order to sustain our lives, we are dependent on one another. So when you're saying, Ya Allah, do not let me to be dependent on anyone, and the world that we live in is the world of asbab. The world that we live in, the nature of this dunya is the world of means, faculties, dependencies on one another. A child without the care of his or her parents will not survive. The same is that when we look at our economy, when it comes to our survival, not everyone is capable of being the survivalist who can hunt and gather and do everything on their own. We depend on one another. And Imam alayhi salam taught him that instead of this dua, make this dua, let's kind of rectify this, modify your prayer. You ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, do not make me to be dependent and to be left with those who are evil of your creation, the shar of your makhluqat. You don't want to be in that kind of relationship, that you are depending on someone who is wretched, someone who is corrupt, somebody who is, in general, indecent or undecent to be able to trust, to be able to rely on. But to be dependent on people who are good of makhluqat, or relatively they're good, is a way of this dunya. So based on that, last night we mentioned that we need to protect our bonds, our connections with our family and our community, because we need it. And at the same time, if it's broken, if it's sick, we need to go through the process of healing. And that was the major discussion of last night. And I believe this is one of those topics that when you look at the verses of Quran, when you look at the teachings of the Prophet and Ahlul Bid'ah alayhimus salam, and even when you look at the Karbala, one way of looking at the Karbala is we see different relationships facing one another. There are families turning against one another. We have brotherhoods turning against one another. On one side we have Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam, and the other side we have Umar ibn Sa'ad, Al Marwan, Al Ziyad. In Ziyarat Ashura, we see that we're not referring just to Ibn Ziyad, right? We're not just referring to one individual. We're referring to that, Ya Allah, remove your mercy from Al Ziyadin wa Al Marwan. It's an entire network of connections that they are facing against the network and connections and the bonds of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. So it's not that the animosity is only to one person, it's rather than the family. That for Bani Umayyah, Bani Hashim, and specifically Ala Abi Talib, is a problem for them. It's not just one individual. If it's Ali alayhi salam, they have issue with him. Muawiyah has problem. If it's Hassan ibn Ali alayhi salam, they have issue with them. And if it's later on others, this animosity continues because we're looking at confrontation of two different side view, a worldview, two different sides that they're opposing one another's values. So Quran warns us that your responsibility is not to just look after yourself. If you only take care of yourself, you only go to the center. And we have this mindset kind of growing within some communities, within some religious individuals, that everybody have to find their own way. True. Ultimately, we cannot force someone to believe in something. We can demand, we can make it a rule for our family to participate, to show up, but we cannot force them to love something. This famous ayah that everybody quotes here and there, La ikraha fi din qad tabayyana ar-rushdu min al-ghayy. We have someone who probably don't have any other verse of Quran memorized, but this one, mashallah, many people know. La ikraha fi din. There is no compulsion in faith. Which is a very important ayah. But the meaning that is being used, the way that some people give it a twist, they use this ayah to justify sins that are directly prohibited in Quran. La ikraha fi din. The meaning of La ikraha fi din is that it's true. We cannot force someone to believe in Allah, in religion, in God, and faith. Because the matter of belief, aqeedah is not something that can be forced upon anyone. When it comes to legislation, when it comes to the law, it doesn't matter. I give an example, an analogy. If somebody doesn't believe when it comes to driving and the laws and the rules of transportation and getting a driver license, it doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. You are responsible as you are driving any vehicle to follow and abide the rule, the law. It doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. If you believe in the seatbelt or not, you have to wear it, otherwise there will be consequences. That's the law. It's not if you like it or not. In a matter of faith, we have two different aspects. One is aqeedah. You're correct, 100%. No one can be forced to believe in something. They can pretend, that's nifaq, that's hypocrisy. They can say that I believe in God, I believe in faith, but deep down they don't believe in it. That's hypocrisy. And that was never the objective of our faith or any religion. to raise community of hypocrites. That was not the intention. But when it comes to legislation, yes, everybody have to respect the law. This is the law. If you don't believe in it or not, if this is the legislation and the rule, then there is going to be responsibility. There will be accountability and consequences. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, when it comes to the family, said, yes, la ikraha fi din. You cannot force your child to believe in something, but as a father of the house, as a mother of the house, you need rules. You need discipline. And by the way, when we hear the term discipline, we're not talking about physical abuse, obviously. We're not talking about using punishment in a way that some people think of discipline. Rather, we're thinking about to know that, okay, you are a child in this house. You have responsibilities. I'm a father, I have responsibilities. As a daughter, as a son, you have responsibilities. And that is perfectly fine. There's no la ikraha fi din here. This is the matter of people understanding and learning that you have a set of duties and responsibilities within this relationship, within this connection that we have as family. But the issue is that when people said, everybody have to find their own way. I go to the center, I go to the program, I go to Husseiniya. My family, they have to figure it on their own. If Allah guides them, Allah will guide them and they will show up. When we are being advised by others that, you don't need to call others to come and show up for the program. We don't need to advertise it. We don't need to reach out. If Allah wants someone to be here, we will be here. And then again, mashallah, we use this beautiful poetry as well, that if you're invited by the sahib al-majlis, by the owner of the majlis, you will be here, which is true. But that does not justify us neglecting our responsibility from reaching out to others. What Quran says in regard of our families and ourselves, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O people of faith, O believers, U anfusakum. Begin with yourself. First, you need to protect yourselves. You need to discipline yourself. You need to uphold those values yourself. This is important of its own. We cannot ignore it. We cannot just move on to the next part of it. As some people, mashallah, the parents, whenever I go to a new community, Shaykh, please, on the member, talk about respecting parents. And the youth, please, Shaykh, can you talk about elders, giving us some responsibilities, youth, kind of initiatives, support us. Everybody wants the other side to be covered. No one said, as a parent, please, can you give some lectures about what can I do? How can I do my responsibility well as a father? Quran begin with ourselves. U anfusakum. Start with yourself. The best way, again, this is a piece of advice I give you after talking to parents for the past at least 10 years. And one thing that becomes clear, regardless of cultural backgrounds, financial status, regardless of their educational level, one thing that becomes clear, those parents who uphold the teachings they want to pass down their children, they are successful in tarbiyah. If they are doing what they're preaching themselves, they have a high chance of success. But all they want is, my son, my daughter, don't turn out like me. Don't look at me. Right? Yes, I smoke. Please, somebody don't edit this part of the video. I do not smoke. I'm saying hypothetically. The parent who said, I smoke, but it's too deep. I'm too deep into this. You should not smoke. It does not work with because you say it and because you care. You smoking yourself is the greatest obstacle from your word to be heard. But if you're someone that you are the first to practice what you preach, better respect your mom. But they look at me, how do I talk to their mom? Respect your dad. And they see me undermining the dad. It doesn't matter how many hours of lectures you have prepared and how many verse or hadith you have ready. They look at you and your performance. Qu anfusakum. I read this somewhere, and this has been kind of repeated, reinforced by many child development and when it comes to psychologists, Muslim, secular, all of them say the same thing, that children do not become what their parents want them to become. They do not turn out to the dreams and desires of their parents. Children becomes what their parents are usually. They follow what they see. You can dream big for them. You want them to be better than you. But ultimately, if your standard is so low for yourself, they will probably do the same thing. If you're someone you give up quickly, you've run away from confrontation and challenges when you have to, your children learn avoidance from you. You set that by example. So Quran said when it comes to faith, قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. First, you need to protect yourself. You need to discipline yourself. You need to grow yourself. And in communities, when I hear this, and you heard probably this from me before, when a community says, I built this place for the next generation, I think that community lost already. Because those parents and those individuals, they think they already graduated. This center is not for me. I don't need lectures. Young people need it. Children need it. But a true believer understands اطلبوا العلم من المهد إلى اللحد لا يمل في طلب العلم طول دهره. Imam Rida alayhi salam said that the sign of a wise man, عاقل. It's a beautiful narration. You can look it up. The 10 signs of a aqil, the 10 characteristics of a wise man according to Imam Rida alayhi salam. The last one of the last point that Imam makes is a wise man is someone that they never get frustrated with seeking knowledge. They never consider themselves a graduate of knowledge. They always learn. And for me, that because again, alhamdulillah, now I have children, I have grandchildren, it means there's nothing else for me to learn. That mindset itself is a problem. And telling my children, no, you go. We elders, we stand outside, we will have inshallah our chai. You go and listen to Shaykh. Again, setting by example. قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. And then, وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. Whatever you protect yourself. And then your family, أَهْلِيكُمْ. Nara. From the punishment of Allah, from damnation, from failing the purpose of life. مَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسِ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. The purpose of our creation was to find Allah. Allah is there. All I have to do is get to Him. And once I recognize His light, I try to get closer to Him. Not physical proximity, meaning look at the qualities, the attributes of Allah, and I try to act according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is merciful, try to have the ray of mercy in your life. Allah is alim, the knowledgeable, try to acquire knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sattar al-uyub, is the one who conceals the mistakes of others. This is what you do. This is sibghat Allah. This is painting ourselves with the color of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So our responsibility toward our family is that we watch after ourselves and in our family. And one of the definition of that is that I have to reach out to my family. Let's go together. Let's go listen together. Let's go learn together. Once the lecture is over, what did you learn? What do you think? What stood out most to you? How do you think we can reflect on this? How can we apply this to our lives? How can we improve? We heard this narration how many times? Man sawa yawma fahuwa maghboon. This hadith is narrated from multiple ma'asumin. One of them is from Imam Musa ibn Ja'far al-Kadhim alayhi salam. Recite salawat. Someone, a believer, that their 2 days are identical, mean today or yesterday, today or tomorrow. Either way, the 2 days of their lives are sawa. Musawi, tasawi means equal, same. Somebody is that their today and yesterday was exactly the same. They did not grow even a bit. فَهُوَ مَغْبُونَ. This person is in great loss. Meaning as a sheikh, I need to grow. I cannot stand in my space. Okay, I already went to Hawza, that's it. I already read a couple of books and that's it. If I do that, sooner or later I have to face the consequences. As a father, as a mother, we cannot stand. We cannot be idle. My dear parents, those of you here and those who are listening online. We have a responsibility to equip ourselves with the issues of our time. My child have a cell phone. Okay. I leave that, inshallah, to the scholars to talk about it. But right now, your child is on social media. I don't know how they use social media. When a parent come to me and they are boasting about their child having a YouTube channel at the age of 8, and that child is innocent, excitingly talk about how many likes they get, this shows that parent didn't do their job. They don't know about the predators that are online, the issues that their child can face. And that's on that parent that they are so naive that they think the time and era is the same as the past. When it comes to our relationship with, again, we just talk about the importance of relationship. But for some parent to not understand the boundaries that I have to teach to my relatives and to my child. And unfortunately, the reality is the high percentage of abuse that children receive is from people that they know. And as a parent, I'm naive about it. I don't know that. Go to the uncle. Go to the auntie. And say, I do tawakkul here. Tawakkul is when you do your part. And more than that, you cannot do anything. There is much that you can do. You send them to Islamic school. You do the tarbiyah, you spend time with them, you do rizqa halal, this is all you can do. But there's so many unpredictable matters that you cannot control. You know it, especially living in Dallas and with the possibility of, tornadoes and all that, right? We don't know. In that case, you do tawakkul. We do the preparation, we do the precautions that we're supposed to, the measures that we can take. The rest is tawakkul. As we prepare, we do tawakkul. Our children are consuming information in a speed that is unprecedented in the history of humanity. How much they know is sometimes scary. They grow much faster than their age. When I talk to some 10 years old and things that they know, just randomly, a 10-year-old talking to me, they watch a video on YouTube about this specific sect that is in India. What do you think of this? And you're 10 years old. How did you come across this? Yeah, the video popped out. It was a suggested video. And for me to say as a parent, my child is, mashallah, very calm, mazloom child. He's very reserved. She stays in her room, watch some YouTube. They learn stuff. They always listen to stuff. This is not قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ. The same way we want our children to be ready for the future, we need to be ready for our present time as well. You should become clear. Okay, my child is on TikTok. What is TikTok? The CEO of TikTok, you saw that interview. I hope you did. The CEO of TikTok in US, he was asked, you have children? He said, I have 2 children. I think both of them were under 10, 9, 6. He said, do they have TikTok? And he said, no. They don't have. But yeah, we do we have our own protocols to make sure children are safe. There's a special version of TikTok for them. There's parental control. Forget about all that. You just heard, he doesn't let his own children to have it. It's TikTok, Sheikh. It's fun. And that happens when some of us, we don't even know what TikTok is. And it's not acceptable. If you have young children, it's not acceptable. How can you let your child be exposed to matters that you don't have any idea? It's like a parent say, I don't know anything about flu. I don't know anything about, illnesses that a child may face. Ear infection. They learn things. Some of them read books about it. That your child may have these issues. So our responsibility is to inform ourselves about the time. We're not living in Pakistan anymore. We're not living in India. We're not living in Iran. We're not living in Iraq. We live right now in Dallas. To know the needs of this new place of residence is our job. The same way we figure out a way to provide for our families is also my responsibility to know about the culture. وَأَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِكُمْ نَارًا. So what should we do regarding this bond that we have with the family? Without a doubt, mahabba and the love within the family, it's one of the most critical aspects of a relationship. Surah Ar-Rum, this is an ayah we heard in the nikah, in the time of nikah quite often, but it is not just for the nikah, it's for all families, it's for all communities. وَمِنْ آيَاتِي أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا. From the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that He created a mate for you. لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, that you may find tranquility, sukoon, sakina. You may find comfort. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً. And He placed between you as a new couple, as a new unit of family, mawadda, compassion. If there is no mawadda, something is missing from that relationship, from that family. Because in our approach, there's unfortunately imbalance. As a human being, the moment jahl takes over, Ali ibn Abi Talib, beautifully, this is a masterpiece of Imam Ali alayhi salam's work. When we talk Imam Ali alayhi salam to be Amirul Kalam, he is the master of words. He has the balagha, the eloquence. The Sayyid al-Radhi, may Allah bless his soul, when he compiled Nahjul Balagha, and he called it Nahjul Balagha, the peak of eloquence, his intention was that there is this guard against Imam Ali alayhi salam. You hear the name Ali is associated with Shiism, there's a guard. So what he did, in his selection of the work of Imam Ali alayhi salam, he looked for the most eloquent among the Arab. Because one thing Arab, even the Christian Arab, have a different level of respect for is the language. You hear Christian Arabs in Lebanon, in Egypt, they enjoy poetry, even nowadays. So he said, okay, I'm going to give him a sample of the work of Ali alayhi salam. Come for the language, stay for the person. And that's why the work of Nahjul Balagha is not a complete compilation of Imam Ali alayhi salam's work. It's a selection according to his, because he himself was a baligh, adib. Himself, Sayyid Radhi and his brother, both of them in Baghdad were known. They were linguists. And that was the beginning of people getting to know the balagha of Ali alayhi salam. And among the sign of balagha and eloquence is that you don't have to give a lecture like Sheikh Modarres for a long time to carry and make a point across, and it's still a struggle, is that you have one short sentence and you say so much in one sentence, in one quote. One of those is this from Ali alayhi salam. لا أرى الجاهل مفرطا كان أو مفرطا. I talked about this hadith probably, if not tens of hours, at least 100 hours on this one statement. Because there's a lot in this. Imam said, Jahil, an ignorant person, a fool. You will not see it either in one of these two states, which both of them are imbalance, lack of balance. Mufritan or mufarrata. You see them excessive on the matter, they do too much more than the balance amount, or mufarrata, or they're negligent. They don't even do bare minimum. You don't find them وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. You don't find them at balanced people. That's the sign of jahl. You see someone, they cannot control eating, binge eating, whatever they come, And we're not talking about people who have eating disorders, they have some underlying cause. Again, I don't have an expertise on the matter, but some matter is a matter of willpower. They do excessive. I'm happy, I'm going to eat. That's how I celebrate. I'm sad, I'm grieving, I do binge eating. Excessive. And then on the other side, we have those, I have this body image issue. I'm not going to even eat what my body needs. Bulimia and anorexics and all that they literally starve themselves to sickness because they want to be thin, to a point that they cause harm to their health. Either way is not the path of balance. It's not the path of aqil, a wise man, a wise person. Same is on the matter of tarbiyah. Because it's easier to do excessive than balance. I asked this question from many communities and I got the same response. Let's say if you're told this weekend, you just finished, next weekend inshallah, you have no responsibility, no chores, no study, nothing. What would be the plan for the day on a weekend? You have no responsibility, no kids, no chores, nothing. What I hear quite often when there's interaction, discussion, a lot of people said, I sleep. Even if you had to sleep, fine. And I said, yeah, I'm trying to make up some sleep. I didn't sleep well during the week. What else? Yeah, I'm going to wake up, I have this big breakfast, enjoy myself. What else? I'm going to watch. So the entire day will go to leisure, rest. The last thing you think about doing something productive. That's for most people. I'm not saying everyone. Because if you're not responsible, usually our factory setting is that we're going to just let loose. We're going to just let it be. No discipline. Then we need a schedule, we need planning, we need all these things to kind of make ourselves responsible. Why is that? Because the nafs, which is part of our existence, our carnal desire wants imbalance, wants chaos. Let it be. Eat whatever you like, say whatever you want, do whatever you like. That's the kind of mimbar that people love. A sheikh comes in on the mimbar and said, you know what? What you wanted all along, it was actually okay. As long as your heart is this, as long as you do this, as long as you cry for this cause, then you can do whatever you want. You get the following, you get the support. Why? Because you're preaching what desire wants. The moment is about, okay, it's not about others, it's about you. Nobody likes that. You're telling me what my therapist has been telling me all along. You're telling me what marriage counselor was telling me is all about you. No, I want someone to tell me that you're okay. It's everybody else's fault. That's the nafs talking. That's our ego talking. So in every matter, there's imbalance. We have those that when I talk about discipline, that's why I choose this lecture. Because when you talk about discipline, people do too much, ifrat. Their house is more of an army camp, boot camp. Wake up, it's a discipline time. It's my house, my rule. You are my son, you're my daughter. The hadith said from 7 to 14, you have to be this. We have this ifrat, and then we have the other ifrat. We have the other extreme. You know, my son, my daughter, do whatever you like. I'm not one of those. We're friends here. Talk to me. You don't like it? It's okay, we find a way. Oh, you went to bed at 2 a.m., you were watching Netflix, it's okay. Don't worry. Both of them, the result is going to be harm for the child. One has no essence of love and compassion in it. The other one has no essence of order. And both of them ultimately leads to failure. That's the balance we should be seeking. And that's what requires efforts. It's not easy. In our own lives, it's not easy. In the life of our children, it's not easy. It's something that requires reflection. It requires reinvention. It requires analysis. Okay, I did it too much. Let me hold back. That's what growing is. That's why when you say how to do parenting, there's no one book that says this is A to Z of parenting. Don't believe in it. You learn. When Imam Ali alayhi salam said, your children are the children of their time, it doesn't mean to forget about your values and just assimilate and do whatever everybody does. It says that you're living at this time. The threats are adapting. The facade is not coming in one shape and form anymore. So you need to adapt as well. In the day of Ashura, when Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam is a small minority versus thousands. In the battle, the way Imam alayhi salam said his formation, look at it, how is it? Imam has maymana and has maysara. There's a structure, there's a plan. This is the right side of my army. 72 people, 100 people, doesn't matter. Even with that, you do it right. This is the same Imam that the night before, him and his companion were worshiping Allah. They spend the night in obedience and remembrance, knowing what's coming for them. But the moment that comes to the plan, okay, today is the battle time. Let's have a plan for this. This is the right side. This is the commander of this side. This is the left side. This is the commander. And the formation is going to be in this arrow formation, so we have the least amount of vulnerability. In the back, we're going to have trenches. There's going to be fire, so they have no chance to attack us from behind. When you read history, these things doesn't seem as important. But Imam doesn't say, it doesn't matter what we do, we're going to lose. The size of the army has been mentioned from 10,000 to 20 to 30,000. And you're 100. What are the chances of your success? When I hear people say, these satellite companies, Hollywood, all these entertainment industries, they have billions, and we try to do something with this small program and the youth group here and there. Yes. This is what you have. What are you going to do? You're going to sit on your hand and let them come? Or you do what you can? This is not the message of our faith. To accept the defeat, to go without a fight, to go without standing up. I like this English saying that if you die, die standing. That's important. Excessiveness is a problem. The same way I just talked about the importance of discipline, it is important to have mawadda in the family, compassion in the family. There are threats to the mahabba, this love, this compassion within the family. When you look at the Quran, Allah referred to the prophets of God as father. Millata abikum Ibrahim. Pay attention. This is one of those, we say, beauty of the Quran, one of the tafsiri point we can take away. Said your father, of course, a spiritual, a figurative role, of you, all the Muslims, your father was Ibrahim. When it comes to our prophet said, Ana wa Ali abawa hadhihi al-ummah. Ali and I, we are the fathers of this ummah, of this community. Again, a spiritual fathers. But when it comes, so that, why father? Our ulama said one of the meaning of the word father, because a father has that authority. Father is in charge. Father says, okay, this is what we're going to do. There's that love and compassion there, but ultimately there's authority. But when it comes to actually reaching out in methodology and approaching people, none of the prophets of God come to their people and said, I am your father and you're my children, listen to me. What they say? What's the word that they use? Akhakum Shu'aiba. Allah said, we sent to you your brother Shu'aib, your brother Hud. The position, they are prophets. They're infallible, they know more, they have the wisdom, they have the authority, they're appointed by Allah. In the approach, they don't approach with that authority, they approach with compassion. So we send your brother. What's the difference between a brother and a father? Those of you who have siblings. A father, because of that authority, because of his position, he has that sense of being decisive. You follow it. But a brother is the one who said, okay, sit, let's talk about this. Is more understanding of what you go through. Is not the one who covers for you, but there's more leniency, there's more flexibility in the sense of forgiving you. And Allah said these prophets of God, if it's Hud, if it's Shu'aib, if it's any of these prophets, they come to you as akhahum, like a brother. So they have the authority, they have the discipline part, and they have the compassion. And about our Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَنْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. O Messenger, if you were harsh, if you were harsh-hearted, غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ, meaning that in your approach to them, you were very strict to the point that you were harsh. You were as strict as a rock. لَنْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. They would have ran away from you. They would have been scattered. They would not come around you. Meaning that because of your akhlaq, because of your character, because of your manners were the reason that people were attracted to you. Our Prophet's threshold of forbearance is something unimaginable. He's so patient with people that Allah defends them. Surah Al-Hujurat was revealed for what purpose? Hujurat means apartments, compartments. It referred to rooms. Surah was revealed because there were those who come to Prophet's house and they would shout his name from outside, not calling him by his title as a messenger of God, by his first name. Oh Muhammad, come out. Come, we're waiting. To the point that ayah and verse was revealed that Allah stood up for his messenger because he wouldn't say it himself. So the believers, لا تجعل دعاء الرسول كدعاء بعضكم بعضا. Stop calling Prophet the way you call one another. He's the messenger of God. And second, stop shouting his name. Wait for him. If you wait for him to come on his own term, this is the time for his rest. That would be better for you. That's closer to taqwa. Do not disturb him at the time of rest. This is the akhlaq of the Prophet. He's so tolerant toward let's call it the shortcomings of his people, of the Muslims. In our community, that's one bond. In our family, as parents, we need the high level of tolerance. I cannot lose my mind quickly. La adaba ma'a ghadab, Imam alayhi salam said. There is no discipline with anger. Many parents, they think discipline is to lose your mind and start screaming, shouting, and that's ta'adib, that's discipline. And Imam alayhi salam said, La adaba ma'a ghadab. The moment you get angry, you cannot do discipline. You lost it. This is you just expressing your frustration. Meaning in discipline, the tone of your voice should be in your control, not in the control of your anger. So we need a discipline, but we need mawadda. We need that fatherly figure and we need that brotherly figure, both. I've seen elders get frustrated with young people coming to the program and they make mistakes. Somebody have a phone, somebody laughs here and there. If we are لو كنت فظا غليظ القلب, Allah said about His messenger, obviously it's true about us. That if we are going to be harsh in our attitude, people will run away, people will not come. Regardless of how well, how neat, how well established is the program and is the unit, because of the approach, because of the attitude, we can make people to avoid coming and just decide it's better for me to avoid this. So how can we do mahabbah? How can we develop this love in the family? We need practical steps. Number one, which is critical to know this mahabbah and love, we need it because it's the quality of our own lives. Meaning the more mahabbah is in the family, the more fulfillment and satisfaction we will experience in life. There is this study, you can look it up, adult development study known as Grant study. It was done in Harvard, 1938, and it still is ongoing. It's been more than 8 years. They start first with some sophomore of Harvard, and then later on they added some participant from less fortunate area of Boston. Around more than 700 of them. And they've been following these individuals. All of them are men, by the way. Don't ask me why men. This is their study was. And they've been following them for decades. They've been following them through their adulthood, when they hit the middle age, and then some of them, those who lived long enough to get to turning old and all that. And then they did all these different interviews with them, following their health records. And longest story short, They said, what's the greatest factor when it comes to happiness, when it comes to satisfaction? Is it because of the sickness, and even it contributes to their health, mental health, physical health? What is the greatest contributor? 80 years of study brought to one thing: strong relationships, meaningful relationships, is the one that makes people defeat even all the odds. That genes is not in their favor. They don't have a good history genetically. Education is not in their favor. Wealth, fame, none of that is a great contributor when it comes to this matter. To happiness and to the life satisfaction is relationship. That should say enough about the importance of our relationship with our family. To think, as a mother, I have a family, but I'm not happy because I don't have a job. And unfortunately, it is in our communities that mothers are underappreciated and they're being told. To think that, I could be happier if I have a career, if I have a job. This study is on your own. Go study it. Go read it yourself. That the reason people experienced that high level of happiness was because of their career, because of how much money they made, or it was more than that. And obviously in a family that you feel not loved, not respected, obviously that family is not a fulfilling relationship. And I blame some fathers and some husbands for that, who make their spouses feel underappreciated. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help those who are thinking this dunya is a competition. They have a job and they have to prove it to everyone that they are happy. That's another issue we have. That everybody try to prove that they are happier than others. And some people have the other side, the other excessive level, that I have to prove that I'm more miserable than anyone else. It's either this way or that way. There's no balance. That, okay, life has both. Inna ma'al usri yusra. There are difficulties, there's ease, this is the life. It's not what is it, the full package, the complete package. There's all the time ups and downs. So how we can develop mahabba? Let's inshallah get to that with a riwayah from the commander of the faithful, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. Imam alayhi salam approached it from the most important one. It said, ثَمَرَةُ التَّوَاضُ الْمَحَبَّةِ. The first thing that is a greater factor when it comes to contributing to this mahabba, this love, within the family and within the community is humbleness, tawadu. For somebody to make their ego in check and their pride in control. The husband who walks around the house and said, I am the one who does everything. I go to work, I'm the one making this, I'm cleaning the house, I do everything. This is not the sign of humility. My greatest piece of advice to couples when they have children is to advocate for one another. Never advocate for yourself. Because when you are talking about what have you done, it seems as arrogant. Which it is arrogant. When you're complimenting and praising your accomplishment, I do this and I do this and I do this, how do you think it will be perceived? How else people will perceive it? So what should we do? As a husband, as a father, talk about the work of your spouse, to your wife, the mother of the child. Yeah, I don't do anything. If you want to do something, go honor your mom. It's not about me, it's about her. If you want to help me, go help her. And as a mother, do exactly the other side. And look at that change that eventually you see in your children. Rather than saying, I do everything and you're ungrateful. I wake up at this time, I have all this pain, and you are ungrateful. At-tawadu, humility brings love, brings mahabba. In a community, anybody who walks around and talks about their accomplishment and how smart they are, it will backfire. Because the reason we do it is because we want people to pay attention to us. We want people to appreciate us, praise us. But usually saying these things, it does exactly the opposite. So tawadu is one. Look for ways that how to incorporate humility, humbleness in our lives. The second one, Imam alayhi salam said, لا محبة مع كثرة المراء. Again from Imam alayhi salam. If you want love and mahabba in a community and in your family, stay away from mira'. Mira' meaning argumentation, dispute, bickering. The more in a family, the more in a community, there's this back and forth, mira'. I have to make my point. In a definition of mira', it's been said, what's the difference between mira' and a discussion? What's the difference between that and a dialogue? The difference is in dialogue and discussion, you're trying to make your point across to the other side. If they listen to it, if they believe in it, if they accept it or not, is up to them. That's discussion. That's a dialogue. In mira' is that you want to win the argument, no matter how. That's why in argument, usually you repeat the same thing over and over, but you add the volume. You start screaming. The other side heard what you said, but they don't agree. But you said, no, you didn't hear me. Let me tell you again. And all you do is just add some volume to it. That's mira'. No matter what source you use, calling them names, calling them fools is not going to change their mind. You educated them on the matter, you informed them to the matter to the best of your ability. That's it. If they listen or not is up to them. In our deen, mira' is forbidden. Iyaka wal mira'. We've been forbidden from it. I've seen mira' over maraji'. Somebody wants to prove that their marja, for some reason in this matter, is more knowledgeable. Okay, you made it. And the other said, I disagree. I said, okay, no, you don't know. You're not a true Shia of Imam Hussain. What happened? What kind of a conclusion you got to? They don't want to agree with you on this matter. But mira' is that my ego says I have to win this. Win every argument. And imagine in a family that there's mira'. I've seen parents arguing, having mira' over matters that is not important. One of those arguments that I've heard is that, okay, how much vegetable we should have on the plate. And they come to me. I said, alhamdulillah, apparently I'm now a dietitian added to the list of expertise. And one said, Shaykh, tell him. So what should I tell him? No, tell him. So, okay, give me the list of what you want me to tell the other side. And then after listening to both of their arguments, both of their evidence and proofs, or whatever they were trying, said, okay, it doesn't matter, honestly. There's no perfect way of doing it. So no, but I said, okay, the harm that you do your child, because I'm pretty sure the way you talk to each other in front of me, I'm pretty sure you do worse in front of your child. The harm that you do to your child with that argument is much greater than any junk food that you can do to give to your child. Let it go. One side just say, okay, let's give him this. It doesn't make you taking a step back from defending haqq and the truth. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you a person who stay away from mira'. It makes you a reasonable person. It should not be our way all the time. Especially on matters that is not haqq and batil. It's not whether, okay, God forbid, if this child, should we serve him haram or not? Should we let him to, engage in a haram relationship? These are matters that is out of our control. It's legislation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if it's a matter that is mubah, meaning it's about preferences, the argument is over nothing. So as couples, stay away from arguments. You don't have to win every argument. You have to see the arguments people have over, is it Messi better or Ronaldo? MashaAllah, 30 minutes heated debate on the matter. As a fun and entertainment, I get it. But after a while, it get a bit excessive. Same as about which Android or versus the other one. These debates, if you make your point across, there's a topic of discussion. But if it's coming back over and over and over again, it's not a discussion anymore. It's mira'. It's a waste of time. And the final point I finish with that, inshallah. Sorry again for going over time. In order to have that mahabbah, which we need in our families and we need in our communities, mu'mineen should have that love for one another, right? With what we recite in Ziyarat Ashura, Inni silmun, tell me, liman salamakum. We are at peace with those who are at peace with Ahlul Bayt. So that's our community. It should be mahabbah. And the same is in the family and community. The third and final point I want to make, which is the enemy of mahabbah, is to involve other people in our relationships. Is to drag people into our relationships. You have some issues, and then you ask opinion of everyone. Everybody have to know about your issues. Not a therapist, not a counselor, not a family member, not somebody who tried to help you. No, just wherever I sit, I talk about my problems. This is an enemy of mahabbah. Once the image of your family, once the image of your community is tainted, as a result of that, it will affect the level of respect you have for one another, the compassion you have for one another. That's why it's important to know that some matters has to be private. We should respect people's privacy, and we should, as a person that is belong to us, not to share it with everyone. Mufaddal, the companion of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he said he came to, not Mufaddal ibn Am, Mufaddal ibn Qais, a different Mufaddal. Came to Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam and talked about his financial troubles. He was dealing with some financial issues. He said, after I finished talking about my problems, Imam alayhi salam asked someone to bring a bag of money, 400 dinar. And Imam alayhi salam handed it to me. And he said, I told him, Ya ibn Rasulullah, the intention of me talking about my issues was not for you to give me money. I didn't want money. I want you to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so Allah help me in my issues, in my struggles. And Imam alayhi salam said, take this, we will do dua for you as well. That's a lesson itself. Sometimes people ask us to do dua for them, but if I can do something to expedite that process, maybe Allah make me to be the mean of that jawab, the answer to their dua. If you can contribute, do it to the best of your ability. Imam said, I will do dua for you, but take this. But this is what Imam alayhi salam finished his conversation with him. This is from the Al-Kafi, volume 4, page 21. Imam alayhi salam said, وَلَكِنْ إِيَّاكَ أَن تُخْبِرَ النَّاسِ بِكُلِّ حَالِكَ. Avoid informing people of everything that is going on in your life. You have issues, you have struggles. Not every struggle, not every issue is something to inform everyone about. فَتَهُونُ عَلَيْهِمْ. Because if you do such a thing, it will humiliate you before people. People lose respect for you. You have some integrity, and just talking about your problems non-stop all the time with anyone, not with trustworthy, not with family, just anyone who said, we just talk about him. As I said, for some it's a competition. Somebody say, I just have an accident. Oh, you have an accident? Let me tell you about my accident. My car was totaled. So, okay, let them be about them. Some issues has to stay in balance again. Not that, okay, God forbid you're suffering from domestic abuse and you just go through with it, and God forbid your health is in danger, your family's in danger. That's the moment you speak up. There's a balance in it. You have someone, let's say some struggle, you need to get a loan, you need to talk to someone to get a loan, and they are decent, they are reliable, they keep your integrity, they maintain your honor, that's okay. But balance. Don't make your personality to be a complainer, that wherever I sit, I talk about it. These are some of the ways that we can develop that mahabbah. We can develop that mawaddah, that love that we need in our family, which mawaddah and nazm and order, mawaddah and discipline together is what is that bind that our families, our community needs. One excessive of the other over the another, it will lead to imbalance, and the imbalance will lead to chaos. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the honor of the Prophet and his family, grant all of us to acquire mahabbah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first, and then acquire the mahabbah and the love of his prophets and messengers and the Ahlul Bayt, and the mawadda of the followers of the community of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. And of course, top priority, our own families with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. On the 20th of Ramadan, Sayyidah Zainab Salamullah alayha was by the side of Amir al-Mu'minin Ali alayhi salam. And after it became clear that these are the final hours of the life of Imam alayhi salam, Lady Zainab Salamullah alayha asked the question, said, "My dear father, I did not ask this question for a long time because I didn't want to disturb you. I don't want to bother you. But I heard this from Ayman, this honorable lady who served in the house of the Prophet and the house of Fatima Zahra, that she said she heard from the Messenger of God that there will be these tragedies. And then she talked about the tragedy of Karbala, talked about the captivity. Oh, my dear father, is what I heard actually true? Would you confirm it?" And Imam Ali alayhi salam said, "My dear Zainab, kama haddathatka Ayman. It is as what Ayman told you." And then Imam recited a musibah and he said, "Ka'anni biki wa bi'ahliki sabaya." My dear Zainab, as if I can see when you and my daughters are prisoners, you are in chains and you're being treated as captives. And then Imam recited an ayah from the Quran that in the time of Jahiliyyah, when men, they wanted to walk in the streets with their family, they would not feel secure, they will not feel safe. And Allah said in the Quran, تَخَافُونَ أَن يَتَخَطَّفَكُمُ النَّاسِ, that before Islam, in the era of Jahiliyyah, you were concerned that somebody will come and kidnap your family, take them away from you. And Imam recited that ayah for Zainab, that my dear Zainab, I can see the day. Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam is the narrator of these tragedies. That Zainab salamullah alayha, Kulthum, Sakina, the daughters of Abu Abdullah and Hussein went through. That when they arrived at the city of Shaam, we have that they brought the head of Abu Abdullah, the head of Shuhada among these women and children. And as they walked toward the courtyard of Yazid, they made them stand in a way for these enemies to come. Some of them not just to celebrate, but they start disrespecting the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, to the point that some of them started spitting on the Ahlul Bayt of the Prophet. Ya Rasulallah, how difficult was when that Shami man, when that man from Shaam, an old man, approached Imam Zain al-Abidin and he said, "Praise be to Allah who killed you and punished you, that he was the one who defended the commander of the faithful Yazid against you." And Imam alayhi salam said, "Oh man, do you know who we are?" And he said, "Yes, you are the enemies of Islam." And Imam alayhi salam said, "Oh man, tell me, have you recited Quran?" And he said, "Indeed, I'm a Muslim, I recited Quran." The power of propaganda, the power of Bani Umayyah in Shaam was that they never heard of this. Imam alayhi salam said, "Oh man, if you recited Quran, have you came across this ayah? قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى." That Prophet of Allah did not ask for any compensation except to love his qurba, his close relatives. Oh man, we are the qurba of the Messenger of God. Have you recited, Imam quoted multiple ayah, have you recited وَعَلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَإِنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ وَلِلرَّسُولِ وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى, that 1/5 of the Prophet goes to the Allah and the Prophet, and the lidhil qurba, the relative of the Prophet. Oh man, we are the lidhil qurba of the Prophet. And Imam said the final ayah, oh man, have you recited, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُرِيدُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. You recited the ayah that Allah purified and cleansed the family, the household of the Prophet from any corruption and impurity. O man, be aware that we are the Ahlul Bayt of the Prophet. And this man, as he heard, he began crying. He said, tell me, is there a way for me, for Allah to forgive me that I didn't know? I didn't know who you are. And Imam alayhi salam, even at that moment that he is in chains, that he is in shackles, and he has all this grief, all this burden with him, he said, oh man, have hope in Allah's mercy that Allah is all forgiving. And Ali Zainul Abidin alayhi salam was the eyewitness, the Imam, the Hujjat of Allah who saw all this. He was not the only Ali who saw how his family was treated. There was another Ali in the city of Medina when they tied his hand and they dragged him in the street of Medina after they burned down the house of Fatima. In the street of Medina, this Ayman, after the incident of the house of Fatima, she asked for permission, said, Ya Ali, I cannot live any longer in Medina. I cannot look at the streets of Medina after what I've seen. And she left Medina, she migrated from Medina, but Ali has to live in the city and look at the streets of Medina. And Imam Zainul Abidin is following on the footstep of his grandfather, who not only saw the day of Ashura, but after Ashura, he saw the head of Abu Abdullah from one station to another until he heard the voice of his father reciting Quran. أم حسبت أن أصحاب الكهف والرقيم كانوا من آياتنا عجبا وعلى لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Ya Allah, by the honor of Abu Abdullah Hussein, by the honor of Shahadai Karbala, by the honor of Imam Zain al-Abidin, hasten in reappearance of Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman. Ya Allah, help us to be among the true awaiters and the true followers and the Shia of the Imam of our time. Ya Allah, bring an end to the suffering of all the Madhlumin, all the innocent oppressed of the world, especially Madhlumin of Palestine, Gaza. Especially remember Madhlumin of Para Chinar, who's been going through this genocide for a long time. Ya Allah, bring an end to their suffering, especially with the dhuhur and the coming of the Imam of our time. Ya Allah, help us to be the protector, the defender, to be on the side of the oppressed and madhloom, and to be voice for the voiceless. And Ya Allah, in dunya and akhirah, humiliate, expose and punish the zalimeen and those who support the zalimeen, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, all those who are mareed, those who requested dua and prayer, grant them strength of iman, grant them sabr and patience, and Ya Allah, grant them shifa and healing and remedy. And Ya Allah, we ask you to bless the soul of all marhumin, all the mu'mineen and mu'minat, especially the marhumin of the participants, volunteers, and the sponsors of these majalis. May Allah bless their soul, and may Allah grant them maghfirah and forgiveness. Allahumma aghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat wal muslimina wal muslimat al ahya'i minhum wal amwat. تابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات إنك مجيب الدعوات إنك غافر الخطيئات إنك على كل شيء قدير. Please recite Surah Al-Fatiha with the salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. ऐ शाम के लोगों मैं बिनते अली हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों मैं बिनते अली हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों मैं बिनते हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों मैं वारिस तत्हीर हूँ मैं वारिस तत्हीर हूँ नामों से नबी हूँ
خاموش کھڑی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں اے شام افسوس کنیزی میں اسے مانگ رہے ہو تم جس کے غلاموں کی غلامی میں کھڑے ہو یہ ظلم نہ ہوگا کبھی میں زندہ بھی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں تم اپنے پیغمبر کو اگر دیکھنا چاہو نیزے پہ جو یہ سر ہے اسے غور سے دیکھو ہم شکل پیغمبر ہے یہ میں اس کی پھوپھی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں زہرا کو بھی دربار میں تم نے تھا بلایا دربار میں بھی ہوں مگر فرق ہے اتنا پردے میں تھی وہ اور میں بے پردہ کھڑی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں بنت علی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں زندہ تھا تو ڈر ڈر کے ہمیں شاہی لڑے ہو اب سر ہے تو ہونٹوں پہ چھڑی مار رہے ہو تم کتنے بہادر ہو میں یہ دیکھ رہی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي أشهد أن عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله صلوا على محمد وآل محمد
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأن عليا حجة الله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر الله أكبر اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم ارزقنا توفيق الطاعة وبعد المعصية اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وتقبل شفاعته وارفع درجته. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. يا لطيف ارحم عبدك الضعيف. الله أكبر. بسم الله وبالله الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. اللهم إني أسألك موجبات رحمتك وعزائم مغفرتك والنجاة من النار ومن كل بلية والفوز بالجنة والرضوان في دار السلام وجوار نبيك محمد عليه وآله السلام. اللهم ما بنا من نعمة فمنك لا إله إلا أنت. أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. اللهم صل على محمد. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. اللهم صل على محمد. وأن عليا حجة الله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر الله أكبر اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم ارزقنا توفيق الطاعة وبعد المعصية اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وتقبل شفاعته وارفع درجته بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده يا لطيف ارحم عبدك الضعيف الله أكبر بسم الله وبالله الحمد لله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، الله أكبر.
الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إنه ليس لعلم بموضع رزقي، وإنما أطلبه بخطرات تخطر على قلبي، فأجول في طلبه البلدان، فأنا فيما أنا طالب كالحيران، لا أدري أفي سهل هو أم في جبل، أم في أرض أم في السماء، أم في بر أم في بحر، وعلى يدي من ومن قبل من، وقد علمت أن علمه عندك وأسبابه بيدك، وأنت الذي تقسمه بلطفك وتسببه برحمتك. اللهم فصل على محمد وآله، واجعل يا ربي رزقك لي واسعا، ومطلبه سهلا، ومأخذه قريبا، ولا تعنني بطلب ما لم تقدر لي فيه رزقا، فإنك غني عن عذابي، وأنا فقير إلى رحمتك. فصل على محمد وآله، وجد على عبدك بفضلك، إنك ذو فضل عظيم. O Allah, I have no knowledge of the sources of my livelihood, and I search for it by the thoughts that spring in my heart. So I wander and search for it through the cities like a confused traveler. I do not know whether it is on the plains or on the mountains, under the ground or in the sky, on lands or on seas, or in whose hands and from whose hand I shall obtain it. And I know that its knowledge is with you, and its sources are in your hands, and you are the one who distributes it by your grace. And make it possible through your mercy, O Allah, send blessings on Muhammad and his family. O my Lord, increase my livelihood and help me obtain it with ease and make it close within reach. And let me not search for it where you have not destined it for me. Surely you are too generous to punish me, and I am in need of your mercy. So send blessings on Muhammad and his family, and be generous to your servant by your grace. Surely your grace is great. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا حبيب الله. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين. السلام على 9 المعصومين من ذرية الحسين. السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل على محمد.